These days, if you're running any kind of experience-based business, everyone tells you it needs to be Instagram worthy. And Sarah Jeanettin, the founder of Blank Mason, took that seriously. She made her candle making business Instagram worthy from day one. But here's what's interesting. They only have 4,500 Instagram followers and 400 on TikTok, yet they hit 250K in revenue in just 6 months. Let me show you how they did it. Before all of this, Sarah had already dipped her toes into entrepreneurship. She ran a staffing company while getting her business degree, and then she went corporate, but kept saving money because she knew she wanted to build something bigger. She was just waiting for the right idea. And that idea, it came during a business trip. Here's Sarah to explain.
So I was actually selling space as a service previously in the corporate America. And I was traveling and I had seen a place offer a workshop for candle making. And I said, that's really nice. I like that. It's remind me of the paint and sip parties, paintings that you usually don't put on the walls unless you're a fantastic artist. But I was like, candle making, like everyone loves candles. It's sort of something you can either enjoy yourself, you can be able to gift. It's relaxing, it's fun, you have a lot of sensories. So it just kept sticking in my head. And when ideas stick in my head, it's like, okay, there's something there. So I just kept thinking about it and I realized like, hey, I really want to, look into see, who's offering this? What does that, market look like? And I just decided, hey, this is something I want to do. And I doubled down on it.
I love how Sarah spotted this opportunity. Think about it. When's the last time you actually hung up a painting from a paint and sip night? But a candle, you're definitely going to use that. So Sarah started doing her homework and she looked at paint and sip businesses, studied the experience market, ran the numbers, and by 2020, she was ready to go for it. Yeah, an in-person experience business in 2020, timing's pretty interesting. And Sarah was actually about to sign a lease in March of 2020, and yep, that March of 2020. But instead of letting COVID kind of derail everything, she actually used that pause to her advantage and didn't end up signing a lease right away. She actually spent the entire year planning out what would make Blank Mason shareable on social media. Everything from the lighting to these amazing backdrop walls for photos to making sure even the candle making stations would look great in videos. By 2021, as things started opening back up, Sarah found the perfect spot in Old Orchard Mall in Skokie, Illinois, just outside Chicago. And when I say the perfect spot, I mean it. They're right next to places like West Elm, Viore, and Kendra Scott, all of these amazing big brands. And they ended up having this big grand opening in November of 2021 where the Chamber of Commerce was there, Skokie's mayor showed up, and friends and family packed the place. And from there, they hit 250K in revenue within just 6 months. And after making a candle, I could see why they were able to get that much revenue that quickly. I actually asked Sarah for about an hour to record this interview, but instead I actually ended up staying for 2 hours because she let me make my own candle. And I've done paint and sips before, but this was way different. It was way better actually. You get to pick your own container, test out different scents, and the staff is super helpful with this part. And then you pour everything together. I was honestly nervous I messed up the scent combination, but nope, my candle turned out amazing. I freaking love this thing. So if you're ever in Chicago, you've got to check it out. But first, let me show you how they turned this into such a successful business so quickly. Okay, actually, before I break down exactly how Sarah grew Blank Mason so quickly, I want to tell you about something I've been working on. For the last 6 months, I've been studying founders like Sarah, people who have bootstrapped their way from 0 to 250K in annual revenue. And I've been taking all of this research and putting it into one big report, the Bootstrap Report. And so if you want to kind of read through all these research and really deep dive into all sorts of different businesses, check out the Bootstrap Report in the description of this episode. Back to how Blank Mason went from 0 to over 250K in annual revenue. Okay, so let's start with how they actually make money. Here's Sarah breaking it down.
Our e-commerce is to offer to anyone who needs that online presence at this time, since we aren't in multiple cities. I would say it does make up about 10% of our business. Our bread and butter is going to be that candle making experience. Another part of our business, I would say it makes up about 20% is our business to business. So we will go through and private label candles. So smaller businesses, boutiques, or such that want their own private candles, we can be able to customize to their needs.
So that's pretty interesting. 70% comes from people making candles in the store, 20% comes from making private label candles for other businesses, and 10% from their online store. It's a smart way to diversify, especially since the private label business might help balance out some of the seasonal up and downs, as Sarah mentioned to me when I interviewed her. So now let's actually talk about how they've actually been able to grow this thing. And so here's Sarah to explain kind of the overall approach to their growth.
We realized early on that when it came to the aesthetic and the experience, we wanted people to want to share that, right? So it was a marketing strategy. So that's why building that time into the aesthetics and everything really mattered because that was going to be our marketers, right? So we got influencers in here that weren't, saying, hey, I'm an influencer. Let me do this for you, right? They wanted to actually come and enjoy the experience. So we had a couple TikToks that went viral that we didn't pay for. Just people came in and wanted to share their experience. It was something new, something fun. And yeah, so for that, it worked really well in our strategy of allowing our space and our experience to, be this forefront of our marketing. And then we also, have presence on Google. We have presence on Yelp. We have presence on Eventbrite. We also early on teamed up with bucket listers, which is in almost every single city at this point. When we started with them, they were really focused on Chicago and New York and Miami. Now they're in a bunch of different cities. So that allowed us to get a bigger, broader network. And it's been such a great partnership with them as well.
There's a good amount to unpack there, but the first growth strategy I want to talk about is communities. And yes, being in a busy model helped, but Sarah didn't just stop there. She got involved with the Chamber of Commerce. She placed events for Blank Mason on Eventbrite and placed the Blank Mason experiences on a highly growing platform called Bucket Listers. If you're like me, I didn't know what Bucket Listers was out of the gate, but basically it's a platform where you can see all the different experiences available to you in a particular city. They've been focused on major cities like Chicago, and thankfully for Blank Mason, Bucket Listers has and is growing like crazy in Chicago. By jumping on early, Blank Mason has been able to ride that wave as Bucket Listers has been growing. So, quick tip. If you can find a platform that's taking off in your area, get on it early. Maybe Blue Sky is an example of that right now. So these next two growth strategies are connected and they'll make sense in just a little bit. The second growth strategy I want to talk about is product-led. And this one isn't your traditional product-led growth. It's not a sticker on the gift bag or some button you click on free accounts. When I entered the Blank Mason store, it was obvious it was designed with Instagram and TikTok in mind. There were multiple areas where you could take photos and videos with your candle, and the stations where you made the candles were Instagram worthy. Yes, there's a clear process to making a candle, but by making this simple process a little more dolled up, Sarah and Blank Mason made the entire process much more shareable by those making the candles. In a lot of ways, they've turned customers of Blank Mason into the best marketers for them. Okay, so with that in mind, the growth strategy number 3 is media. And with the entire candle making process being easily shareable, TikTok and Instagram have played a big part in Blank Mason's growth. However, you'll notice I didn't label this growth strategy social media. And that's because it's not Sarah and Blank Mason creating their own content to publish on their own accounts. If you look through TikTok and Instagram for Blank Mason, you'll notice that Blank Mason has gone viral a few different times, but not on their own account. It's other creators and fans of Blank Mason that have told their own story of their own experiences with Blank Mason. And through the algorithms of each platform, Blank Mason has been recommended to potential customers on both TikTok and Instagram because those algorithms are going to market naturally to people in that same geolocation. And she'll get marketing through the algorithms, through people scrolling, and also through search. And search on TikTok is way underrated. Okay, so from the start, Sarah wanted to build something bigger and more unique. And with Blank Mason, she's definitely not thinking small. In 5 years, Sarah expects to grow to 99 locations across the United States. Yes, 99, not 100. That's what the math said worked according to Sarah. If you want to learn more about franchising a Blank Mason store, check out the link in the description below. If you found this episode helpful, I would love it if you can give it a like. And if you're looking for more content like this, check out the newsletter in the description below.